In the transition period to the creative society, each person will have universal basic income equivalent to $10,000 US, free housing at least 650 square feet per person, free healthcare of the highest quality, free education for a lifetime, safety in every part of the world, work 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, paid vacation for 2 months a year, equally high salaries across the world, no taxes for individuals, small and medium-sized businesses, fixed prices on all goods.
When I look at the picture of this kind of the world, a thought comes to my mind. This is incredible. This is incredibly cool. And yes, I want this kind of life. But just like in any person, a skeptic inside me begins to rant and says, first of all, it is impossible to implement. And even if it is possible, it certainly won't happen in my lifetime. And goes on to affirm, no one will let you do this. And you know what I reply to him? You're right. And indeed, he is right. In today's economy of the consumerist format, in which we exist nowadays, this cannot be implemented. This requires a different economic model. We need to look beyond the confines of the current system. And I invite you to learn about a new model of economy that will provide a high standard of living for every human being. This model has been developed and proposed by experts from around the world. It takes into account the economic needs of each person, technological advances, and the need for our civilization to develop and evolve. This innovative model will change our lives from the first day of its implementation. I want to draw your attention to the fact that its implementation is possible only if the format of society is changed from consumerist to creative. And further, I will explain why. Unlike the current economic model, the new model will have a different goal: to provide the high standard of living for every human on the planet. There are two key requirements for the new economic model to function and achieve this goal. The first requirement: the new economic model can only work on a planetary scale. It cannot work in a single country. The second requirement is the self-governing society. All power must belong to the people. The economy, along with other strategic spheres, will also be managed and controlled directly by society, represented by every person, each of us, via the electoral platform. So, we have formulated the goal of the new economic model and outlined the necessary requirements for its implementation. These requirements can only be met in the creative format of society. I now invite you to model the near future. After we have successfully completed all three stages of building the creative society, informational, political, and the global referendum, the world community legally and peacefully transitions to the creative format of society that we all have chosen together and become one civilization. From that moment on, it will take a small amount of time to launch the new economic model. 6 months, according to preliminary calculations. After that, we will enter the transitional period to the creative society, which will last 5 to 6 years. As soon as we enter the transitional period, everyone will be provided with the monthly unconditional basic income in the amount equivalent to $10,000 US, with their own housing of at least 60 square meters per person. Education and healthcare will be of high quality and free, as well as resources, electricity, water, heating. All debts will be written off. Loans will be interest-free, and there will be no more taxes for individuals, small and medium-sized businesses. Of course, this raises a lot of questions. Will people work? What will the prices be? Will there be inflation? And the most common and important question: where will the money come from? So let's take it in order. Where will we get the money from in the transitional period to the creative society? In the new economic model, money will be created by a single fund for global financing, which belongs to society and serves its interests. The single fund for global financing will only serve the function of creating and redistributing funds. It will not accumulate money like the funds do today, nor will it make money as the banks do in the consumer model of the economy. There will be no banks in the transitional period to the creative society because there will be no need to keep money, because money will be exclusively digital. In fact, there will be no money in the conventional sense of the word. These are just numbers and equivalent for exchange. That's your assets. You can exchange them for something, a product, a service, and so on. The more the economy grows, the more means of exchange, what we now call money, are created. In contrast to the consumerist format, all financial transactions will be open and transparent to everyone. The task of the single fund for global financing is to supply the right amount of means of exchange at society's request. How will this work? Society decides what needs to be improved, created, and what projects and initiatives to implement. Experts will use the artificial intelligence to calculate how much money is needed to achieve those goals. And the single fund for global financing will create the necessary amount of money. If there is a request for the implementation of a project in a village, city, or country, an application is submitted to the electoral platform. For example, if a city decides to replace its asphalt pavement, it submits a request and funds are allocated for this from the single fund for global financing. It's just like in the family. You know what everyone needs and you allocate money from the family budget to buy the necessary goods: pants, sneakers, a piano. It's the same at the city and global levels. The only difference is that our budget as a society is not limited. We can spend as much as we want if there is something to spend on and we need it. This approach does not limit the development of the economy. The economy develops and our opportunities increase. In the new economic model, there will be no budgets of cities and countries. There will be no such thing as state money either. The only place where money can accumulate is your personal account. And you yourself dispose of it as you please. If a country, city, or village has a budget, there will inevitably be those who will try to make a profit from that budget, local officials and others. And when there is no budget, it cannot be taken away. And this is the answer to the question of why there will be no corruption, theft, and bureaucracy. There won't be a situation where the asphalt pavement was changed last year and this year it is changed again, and someone makes money on it. It will not happen because the monitoring system will guarantee the transparency of all operations. Monitoring that the money allocated has been used as intended will be done with the help of technologies that already exist, such as the multipurpose complex Voskhod. You won't be able to buy building materials for a higher price than those that are sold everywhere, and everyone can see their price. How is it possible to steal if what you buy and sell can be seen immediately? Money flows are transparent. Anyone can see what every penny is spent on. Now, in the consumerist format, this information is hidden. But in the transitional period to the creative society, it will be available to everyone. You can see exactly how money has been spent in any part of the world, regardless of where you are, because society's money is your money. For the convenience of transactions and complete transparency, a new single monetary unit will be introduced, which can be used anywhere in the world. It will belong to society and be created by the single fund for global financing. It will be digital. It will not be possible to seize or freeze it, and it will not lose value. You cannot lose digital money, it cannot be stolen, and its flows are completely transparent. From the first day of the transitional period to the creative society, an exchange of existing currencies for the new monetary unit will take place. All savings, capitals, and assets of people and enterprises will be converted into it. Why will the single currency be digital? Because firstly, it guarantees the transparency of all financial transactions. And secondly, with modern technology, there is no need for paper money or documents. Digital money is both environmentally friendly and convenient. A person doesn't need to carry a wallet, a passport, or a plane ticket. No chips or third-party devices are needed. A person can be identified by retina or a fingerprint. All this information will be stored in a single database that would be under the control of society as a whole, rather than individual countries or special services, as it is today, where everything is fragmented. This high-tech approach would simply eliminate any illegal activity. It will be impossible to engage in stealing or money laundering. It will all stop. In the creative society, a person has nothing to fear or hide. They are absolutely open and free. Everything starts with a clean slate. The key mechanism of the new economic model will be a limitation of wealth, which is the limit of maximum wealth per family that we will set as a society. At the present time, the recommended amount is $10 million, and it is confirmed by recent research. This is the total amount, including all movable and immovable property, all the assets and liabilities of each family member. This amount is more than enough for a comfortable, prosperous life, but not enough to gain unlimited power. When a person's wealth goes over the set limit, the excess funds simply disappear. They are not credited to anyone's account and are essentially written off. We are used to thinking in terms of the economy of the consumerist format, but here you have to understand that this is a different form of settlement, not the usual banking form. Therefore, money is not accumulated. When society needs money, the single fund for global financing simply allocates the necessary amount, which goes into circulation. Society is financed without limitations for as much as required for its needs. In the transitional period, money is needed as an exchange fund to limit the wealth so that humanity or a group of people would not build empires and usurp power again. This would create a high standard of living for all people. Let's summarize. In the consumerist format, money is a means to retain power. People try to accumulate it, hide it, take it away, while in the transitional period to the creative society, money is a tool to achieve society's goals. And money is needed only during the transitional period to the creative society, as a temporary measure for 5 to 6 years, and it will not be needed in the future. And later we will explain why. Nowadays, they say that the problem is not money, but its quantity. As we have already understood, in the new economic model, there will be no such problem. But the question is different. Will it lead to inflation? The answer is simple. There will be no inflation at all. It is impossible. In the current economic model, this would indeed lead to skyrocketing prices, hyperinflation. But in the economic model of the transitional period to the creative society, this simply could not happen. Why? Because the prices would be fixed worldwide by law for all resources, goods and services. They simply cannot be raised, and this means that inflation cannot be created. But it raises another question. At what level will the prices be fixed? Will the bread cost $1,000? Well, if you make that decision, of course it will, because we will decide as a society anyway. The optimal prices will be calculated using artificial intelligence, considering all the costs and profitability, but the final decision on pricing will be made by people. Therefore, you surely understand we are unlikely to want the bread to cost $1,000. We would rather want it to cost less than it does today. And it will. All prices will be less than they are today. And thanks to what? Because there will be no interest on loans and taxes for medium and small-sized businesses included in the prices. Electricity, water, and gas will be free. There will be a single economic environment in the creative society. And the absence of borders means no taxes on exports and imports, no duties, no excise taxes, and no customs duties. The introduction of robotics, fuel-free generators, and smart logistics will contribute to lower prices for goods. At the same time, quality standards will be equally high for the same goods all over the world. For example, the same hamburger that today costs $6 in America and $1 in Romania will cost, for example, 40 cents worldwide and will be equally delicious and juicy and healthy. Tasty and healthy food will be available to everyone. Right now, in the consumerist economy, 8 billion people is a lot. And in the creative society, 50 billion won't be enough. But even in the transitional period, we will not need to add worms, bugs, and other insects to our food, because the production of organic and quality food will increase many times as new technologies are introduced, such as vertical farms, which we already have now, but it is not profitable to introduce them in the farming in the consumer's format. And in the new model of the economy, it will become completely natural. Today, despite the addition of insects to our food, 2 billion people are starving. And in the transitional period to the creative society, there will be neither hungry nor poor. I am already anticipating your next question. Such a rapid improvement in people's living standards and purchasing power, including an unconditional basic income of $10,000, lower prices and free utility services, won't all this lead to a shortage of products? It won't, but friends, the truth is, not everything is going to be so easy. You will have a new headache, where to spend the $10,000, because the selection of goods and services will be huge. In the transitional period to the creative society, almost immediately you will see a huge increase in economic growth, because people will have enough money and there will be an unconditional basic income, which means that the purchasing power will increase many times over. And this is a massive boost for trade turnover. Moreover, ideal conditions will be created for manufacturers and business. These include interest-free loans, no taxes for small and medium-sized businesses, free water, gas and electricity, access to the latest technology, and most importantly, a great demand for their goods and services. This will be a huge stimulus for them to create more goods, develop and expand. The new economic model is a real paradise for consumers and entrepreneurs. First of all, the absence of taxes for small and medium-sized businesses means not only a reduction in prices, it also means economic freedom. All the money you earn is yours and you are free to spend it as you like. No one will be able to take them away, as it is done today through taxation. Taxes will be simply not necessary because there is a wealth cap, and funds above a certain amount are already directed towards the needs of society. And this money will anyway be exchanged for goods and services, which will make manufacturers themselves richer. This is much more beneficial than taxes. Secondly, loans for small and medium-sized businesses will be interest-free. You can take out a loan and develop your business, but this does not mean that you can borrow without limit and not pay it back. Obviously, there will be a mechanism for control. Of course, you have an obligation to repay the loan. No one will allow anyone to live off their back. It is not good for someone to live off the president's back. And considering that each person is the president, you cannot get a free ride on anyone. But on the plus side, no one can get a free ride on you. And thirdly, another key benefit for business is the economic model itself. It will be structured in such a way that any entrepreneur will always know what is in demand. This will be possible because we will use a planned economy model, which will be calculated using artificial intelligence on a global level. This means that any businessman can always visit the electoral platform and, with the help of artificial intelligence, find out what will be the demand for their goods and services in a particular location. Artificial intelligence will help them process the data and make the right choice so that their business becomes profitable and successful. For example, you have decided to open a coffee shop. You can go to the electoral platform and see how many coffee shops are in your area, how busy they are, and if there are already 2 half-empty coffee shops, it would be foolish to open a third one. Such a business will fail on its own and harm others. At the same time, the artificial intelligence will prompt you that there is no bakery in this area. Therefore, opening a bakery will be profitable. This way, you get to understand which profitable business you can open for the benefit of yourself and society. Moreover, when starting a business, the same artificial intelligence will offer you options for premises, purchasing goods at the most favorable price in nearby places to reduce logistics costs. It will connect you with a logistics company, calculate the required loan amount, if one is needed, and also calculate the cost of necessary repairs of the premises. Find the companies that will do the repairs at the most advantageous price. Find options for design solutions and propose the necessary employee candidates in the required location. All on a turnkey basis. At the same time, it is you who chooses from the options suggested by AI, and all final decisions are up to you. The same artificial intelligence will calculate how much time it will take from the moment you apply on the electoral platform for your business to start making a profit. Additionally, the AI will calculate the necessary number of employees and help you draft their schedule. This is very useful considering that the work week will be 4 days, 4 hours a day, meaning that in order to cover 12 hours of daily work for that very coffee shop, 3 people per day are needed per shift. Of course, after this, many people will say that everyone will become an entrepreneur. They won't, because running a business requires a certain character, motivation, responsibility, time commitment, and most importantly, organizational skills. For many, and this is the overwhelming majority, it is much easier to go to work 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, receive a good salary in addition to the universal basic income, and enjoy life, rather than continue developing their business and work on it almost 24 hours a day, despite all the help from AI. Even if artificial intelligence does the calculations for you, it's still up to you to do the work. AI will help you launch the business and assist you in the process, but it is you who will run the business. Communicating with customers, overseeing production, the responsibility for all this will be on you, right down to picking out the design, starting from the smallest details in the process of launching the business. There is no getting away from it. You will be engaged 24 hours a day, despite the simplicity and ease of the process. And it is up to you to decide whether to work 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, or to be an entrepreneur. Some people want to earn more, while others are satisfied with their salary and a free, wonderful life. Naturally, all of these conditions, such as no taxes, interest-free loans, understandable demand, etc., will have a positive impact on increasing wages. Wages will need to be increased regularly because companies will need skilled workers to meet the growing demand for goods and services. Since unconditional basic income allows even those who used to be low-income individuals to purchase quality goods, there will be an increase in the number of companies needing employees to meet this demand. For example, let's consider a medium-sized business. A person has an enterprise with 200 to 300 employees and a turnover of several tens of millions of dollars. They don't have to pay taxes. All the money earned belongs to them. And of course, they will raise wages, because competition for specialists in the labor market will be high. While unemployment will inevitably increase in today's world, in the creative society, on the contrary, there will be competition for good workers. They will be needed. And we come to another often asked question. Will people want to work if they already have a comfortable life provided by universal basic income of $10,000? People will still work because a $120,000 universal basic income per year for a person is just an average level of prosperity. Few people want to be in the middle class. People strive to live better. For example, if a person wants a new good car, then to buy it, they will have to live on just their basic income for several years. Wouldn't it be easier to go to work to buy their dream car faster? In this case, a person could earn an additional $5,000 to $10,000 or more per month, and in a year they could save up for their dream car and drive it to the job they love. You will also want good watches, a good phone, and a new laptop. Why? Because you have the opportunity to buy them. You will want to go to a good restaurant. You will be too lazy to cook, and you will go to a restaurant near your home to eat there. This requires money, and this is a good incentive to work. Not to mention that the transitional period to a creative society implies working for 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and having 2 months of paid vacation and high salaries worldwide. Furthermore, thanks to the implementation of new technologies, boring professions and hard labor will gradually disappear. People will have much more interesting work to do because there will be many new professions that will reveal their potential and talents. Everyone will be able to easily and freely learn a new trade or train for a new profession. Thus, we understand that people will have all the conditions to earn themselves a good house and even more than one, any car or real estate. And then this question arises, what about private property? Everything a person earns, up to the wealth cap, belongs to them, their house, their yard, their car, and so on. An entrepreneur's private property may include a store, service areas, manufacturing, restaurants, cafes, and the like. But all minerals and resources of the earth will belong to the entire society. It is thanks to this that electricity, water, and gas will be free for people and small and medium-sized businesses. Thus, the new economic model creates all the conditions for the maximum development of both businesses and entrepreneurship, as well as the development of every individual and society as a whole. One more reason why the world economy will become many times more efficient in the transitional period to the creative society is the use of a planned economy at the global level. Just think how much unnecessary money and resources are now spent on overproduction, as well as on liquidation of finished products in order to increase the value of the remaining products. And yet, at a time when a third of the ready-to-eat products are being destroyed, there are countries where people have never ever tried these products. Meanwhile, those countries have things that are needed in other countries. The new model of the economy will solve this problem with smart planning and smart logistics. Logistics will be calculated by experts with the help of artificial intelligence in order to efficiently redistribute goods so that everyone will have the opportunity to buy everything they need. In the model of the transitional period to the creative society, there is no limit to improving human life. It will be possible and necessary to improve life, but prohibited to make it worse, and it will be fixed at the legislative level. Remember, the highest value in the world will be human life and its benefits. Well, friends, let's sum it up. Now you understand how the economic model of the transitional period to the creative society works. It provides everyone with a high standard of living. This includes a monthly unconditional basic income equivalent to $10,000, fixed prices for all goods, high level of wages, free and high quality healthcare, education, and excellent conditions for business development. What's more, this only a part of its advantages over the current consumerist format of economy. The absence of wars, inflation, crisis, and stable income, all of this makes society healthier, and this is extremely important. There's no need to commit crimes, no reason to risk a happy life. The simple question is, what for? When human life comes first, the world changes drastically. Your happy life is what you will treasure. These are your opportunities, and these are the opportunities for the entire civilization. Today, humanity stands at the threshold of controlling matter. This is the reality of today. Only minor gaps in understanding separate us from controlling matter. The only thing we really lack to fill these gaps and make a scientific breakthrough is scientists from around the world working together in this direction with unlimited funding. And this will be possible from the very first days of the transitional period to the creative society. And most importantly, unlimited funding for science is the only chance to eliminate the climate threat. Because this is the top priority vital issue today. As early as this stage, we will be able to save the planet from climate collapse and launch the processes to solve environmental problems. The transitional period will take about 5 to 6 years. After its completion, we will enter the creative society. And the creative society is a world of incredible possibilities where the latest technologies will be available. The health capsule will allow everyone to extend their lives beyond the species limit and live in a healthy and young body for at least 1,500 years. The replicator is the technology that will enable us to create anything from the tiniest particles, manipulating matter at the quantum level. These technologies will be in every home. And that's the answer to why we will no longer need money. The creative society solves all our economic problems and opens up a new world of incredible opportunities where you can unlock your true potential. If you want to live in such a world, it is now important to act together with millions of people. You and I are now launching a worldwide demand for the creative society. We will very soon become the main trend of humanity if each of us takes an active part in this first and most difficult stage of building the creative society, the stage of informing. In one way or another, each of us is suffering in the economic model of the consumerist format. But we are searching for a way out within the familiar paradigm. However, the way out is only in the creative society. Therefore, for those who understand what the way out is, it is important to tell others about it. Creative society will open up perspectives for growth and development of each individual and of society as a whole. This is what will make us free. In the consumerist format, there can be no real freedom for a person. There's always the exploitation of the majority by a few individuals. But even those few individuals are themselves enslaved by this format. Therefore, not a single person has freedom in the consumerist society. It is only in the creative society that the person can attain true freedom.